Search Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM, Mariana. Powered by Pepsi. ESPN Northwest Florida. Rise and shine, campers. It's a brand new day.
What a lovely morning.
Good morning, starshine.
You seem happy this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming in early.
The Coach James Hale Show is live and local. Live from the J. Michaels Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Get past the people, get past the hitman.
And hit me, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Be careful driving this morning. Teachers are back at work, working extremely hard. God bless them, the amount of money they make and what they put up with. I feel bad for them. I really do.
Beware of the teacher.
Beware of that teacher. Keep them happy. Keep them happy. If you see a teacher today, you know it's a teacher, if you can buy them lunch, buy them lunch. If you see a police officer out there today, we always say this, if you can afford it, help them out. Buy them lunch, say hello to them, let them know you love them and respect them and care about them. We love our police officers, military personnel, and our doctors. If you see a doctor today, reach out and say hello and tell them I might buy your lunch today. Dr. Ward, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, Coach.
Thank you for what you do.
How are y'all doing
Don't walk
today?
up to him and say, hey, will you look at this? And I've got this problem here on my...
I do it all the time.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Don't you hate that, Doc?
No, it's all right.
That's what he does.
Want
That's
free
what I'm here for.
consultations?
Your profession is a calling. I'm called to help people.
There you go.
So
There,
the
God,
show
I love
comes-
this man.
So when people ask you for help and it's your calling,
Yeah.
it doesn't bother you.
You show kindness. You show
Speaking
kindness.
of that, you should buy Dr. Ward lunch because he has to get up close and personal with Coach Hale.
Yeah, he does, baby.
That's worth a lot of lunches.
He will Smith me one day. And he said, "Be still," and I moved. I didn't move anymore. I know how you discipline your kids now. You tell them one time, baby, and that's it. Unbelievable. And all the coaches are back to work too. God bless you, coaches.
Mm-hmm.
They all do a wonderful job. I know football. They're already on the field. They're working their tails off. It's hot. It's humid. Football season just around the corner. Brian's back in the building. How was Elvis? Did you get to run to see Elvis's house or anything?
You know what? I actually did not get a chance to get out there.
Shame,
A week in
shame,
Tupelo,
shame.
but when you're in charge of 30-something teenagers and worried they're going to set the hotel on fire,
well, when it comes to Elvis,
you can't get away much.
when it comes to Elvis, you go. If they start it on fire, they can always build it back. But you only get to see Elvis's house every so often.
Yeah, but Tupelo's still going to be
I saw
there.
his house this last Christmas.
I know you. I saw it on
was great.
Facebook.
My kids
Hey,
loved it.
Did you go to the movie? You better have gone.
I've not gone to the
You
movie.
better hurry up.
But my mother says it's wonderful.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. It's the best movie out there.
The way I look at it, Coach, this gives me another reason to get back up to a Mississippi State football game so I can go see Elvis's
You
house.
need to go see Elvis. You need to get to Memphis. I'm telling. Brian's back with us. You hadn't figured that out yet.
Did you know that Elvis was a twin?
Yes. Jesse died.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vernon, come here. We got another one. It's Elvis. Thank you very much. Anyway,
I've heard a joke about that, but I just can't remember.
it was
right now.
dirty.
You killed my brother, but you didn't kill me.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. If you haven't seen it, you're gonna regret it. They're gonna start streaming it. I think August 8th, and it's made more money. It just beat Elton John's, and
Wow.
I think it's either first or second now about a singer. I mean, it kind of moved about some kind of singer or something
That
like
Elton John movie wasn't that good.
that. Yeah,
I'll probably wait for it to come on HBO Max.
it'll be August 8th. You can watch it. But I'm telling you, it's different, man. That huge screen. You're gonna love the movie. I'm just telling you will love it because you're an Elvis guy. You kind of favor Elvis, the young Elvis, not the old one, the young one.
Well, thank you very much.
Hey, you talk about being blessed. You're a graduate from Florida, which you have to be highly intelligent to even get in.
Go Gators.
And then you got into medical school. I mean, I'm surrounded with geniuses. And I got one that went to Mississippi State.
Yeah.
I got
One
to
exception.
Doc went to Florida and is the young Elvis. I went to Mississippi State and I'm the old fat Elvis. I get it. I understand how this is going.
How old are you now?
47.
No, you're still young.
There we go.
Elvis,
He's a puppy.
He was fat by then. But
yeah, he was. Elvis died at 42. That's what's so sad. Go see the movie Elvis this week, please. I want you all to see it and enjoy it. Dr. Ward, you're talking about these. We're short of teachers right now, short of coaches. Coach
Even bus
Campbell,
drivers.
everything. Coach Campbell trying to hire a coach over at Arnold Monday. He was going to come on, but he had an interview. He's trying to get the guy, and hopefully it works out for him. I know most of the people got their staff lined up, but they are still people looking. But I don't blame anybody but the federal government. Well, I don't know if it was federal, state, whatever. Bush started that, and people might like Bush. I never liked him. They started that testing.
No, the No Child
And the
Left
people
Behind stuff,
his people out in Texas that he was connected to, guess what? They made the Texas, and they all made fortune. They made big money off government like they all do. They all get paid in Greece.
What you're finding, coaches are going through it now, and teachers probably started going through it before. But what you're finding now is a lot of coaches are leaving the profession because less of it's about coaching, more of it's about administration and different things.
And teaching,
same
about
thing
paperwork.
with teaching, and
Yeah.
people got into this to coach, to teach, and if
Can't
the
do it.
majority of your job is not that, then why do that for all the headache and hassle?
The bottom line here, cut through all the BS. When they started putting all this paperwork on these teachers, that didn't make any sense. And this, I don't know, it came from state, federal, or what. And I don't blame the administration or the administrators here in Bay County because they had no control. That's state stuff. All this paperwork, the teacher said, heck with it, man, I'm not doing this. They don't even have time to teach. I mean, they have so much paperwork to do. I guess in your profession, too, y'all started having to do a lot more paperwork, I guess, for insurance purposes or being sued or whatever.
Yeah, it came from the federal government. There's so many. If you accept Medicare, there are so many
There you go.
strings attached to seeing Medicare patients. It is incredible the amount of paperwork that we have to do. I mean, we have to do so much paperwork that we hire people to just help us with the paperwork,
Right.
which has absolutely nothing with providing medical care.
And what's
to
that
patients.
make you do? You got to spend more money, so you got to raise your prices. So
Well, no, we actually can't raise our prices. So the next time anyone's sitting in a doctor's office and is upset about the office running behind or too many people in the waiting room, we can't raise our prices.
Right.
Medicare sets our prices.
Right.
So when they put more administrative hassle on us, all we can do to offset that is see more patients. That is the only thing we can do. So when you think back to like 30 years ago, when a doctor maybe saw 20 people all day, but really spent time with you, like absolutely like 20 minutes of examination, talking to you about your family, getting to know you and what you're doing. You could do that because the cost to provide care was a fraction of what it is today. So the payment rates haven't gone up at all in 20 years, okay? But the costs have gone up astronomically. So now a doctor to, provide, his family and all of this sort of stuff, his or her family, you're going to have to see 40 to 45 patients a day.
And does that make everybody wait longer and longer?
Absolutely.
And longer?
Or you cut down your interaction time, which is not good for the doctor or the patient.
So I mean, it's the federal government. I mean, and it's permeated every profession.
Yeah. Wasn't the government there to protect you? It's for the military only. That's what it's all. When it all started out, it was protect the citizens for the military, and now they're taking every part of your life over.
Oh, look, I mean, we pulled it out of our system, but I mean, our medical record system started asking people what gender they identify with. Like everyone had to answer that question, and a patient told me about it. It says, you know that when you check in here, it asks, doesn't say are you male or female, it asks what gender you identify with, and I was like, what are you talking about? And sure enough, they showed me, and I told my IT person, I said, you call the EMR company and get this bull off of our system.
Yeah.
And they did. They had to special ask to do it. But it's the government wants to control everything. They want to control how we're thinking about things, and it's in education too.
It starts there.
Well,
it started there a long time ago.
It's just like Biden is trying to put school lunch money dependent on teaching gender ideology to children.
Oh, my God.
Well, look, it's all tied, government, absolutely, but it's also tied in, I know I'm going to anger some of our listeners, but lawyers and insurance. I'll give you a great example with coaching. So I was coaching swimming, right? We'd coach them from all the way up from 4 and 5-year-olds up to the kids trying to make the Olympic team. If I were going to hire someone to work 2 hours a week with swimmers 6 years old and younger, I had to run them through 13 different certifications, one of which being a USADA anti-doping things for 6-year-olds. Now, I understand that if I'm dealing with kids trying to make the Olympic team and all, but it's this one-size-fits-all, CYA, everything's run by the lawyers and the insurance companies to prevent this, that, or the other. And don't get me wrong, that stuff's important. But, again, that one-size-fits-all stuff is what causes all the problems. And I can't hire anybody to come in and spend the first 40 hours of work going through testing and certifications they don't need.
Right. Let me ask you both this, because this is touchy. Some people, when it first happened, blew up about it. Athletic directors, old timers. Title IX, was that a good thing, or was that another government takeover?
That's a very interesting question. I think it's important for us to have parity in sports and offer, especially in college. Like I think professional, although college is becoming more professional, but at the time. Amateur athletics, you really should, when it comes to colleges offering scholarships, you should try to, make it gender neutral. Like, I mean, if a college is going to give 50 scholarships for athletics for men, they should probably, out of fairness, give 50 to women. Now, when you talk about subsidizing professional athletics, I think that gets insane. I mean, like pushing a sport that nobody wants to watch just because it's not fair that that people watch MLB more than women's softball professionally. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's kind of, I mean, give people what they want. But I think at the college level, publicly funded, all that, yeah, I think Title IX makes a lot of sense.
Brian?
The framework of Title, and this is something I've had to evolve on because Title IX's had negative impacts generally to my sport and how it's rippled down. But it's not the framework of the legislation that's the problem. It's the implementation of it. Title IX in and of itself is a good idea. There are parts of it that are problematic. My issue is more the NCAA, the way that they have implemented Title IX policies is by cutting men's programs, not by boosting women's. And that's been an issue with the Olympic sports movement for men and how that goes. And you can tie some of that back to there is no female balance to football. There just isn't. Right. Every other sport, it's somewhat equivalent in terms of roster size, this, that, or the other, but there is no women's football. So those 85 scholarships have no counterbalance unless you want to say women's volleyball. And women's volleyball takes 11 or 12. Yeah. That's what skews things. So instead of protecting the men's sports and elevating and adding women's sports, what almost every college in the country did is started cutting men's sports in order to achieve, quote, balance and equity. And that was the problem. So it wasn't so much the legislation as it was the implementation of that and the fact that they were allowed to do that.
They started making...
I'm really disappointed that we just didn't implement women's football. I mean, come on, that could be a lot of fun to
you
watch.
can have flag football teams at certain schools if you choose to have them. But when they made cheerleading a sport, when it was classified as a sport, that helped the numbers. Everything was about like you said, everything about the numbers.
But there's not an 85 scholarship balance out there. And again, it's just that implementing of... Now, there are some of the other aspects of Title IX in terms of loss of due process are problematic, but that has very little to do with athletics. And college administrators can tell you all about those issues.
I'll tell you what, when we get back, let's jump into Florida State, get that done today. And because I know Dr. Ward
Speaking of women's football, let's talk about Florida State.
I knew it.
Ain't nothing.
I knew it, man.
Light up those phones.
Oh, my God.
Yellow on green. Somebody's been mean. Unbelievable. J. Michael's Restaurant. We're one day away from that world-famous J. Michael's spaghetti. Go try it. You'll absolutely love it. Only on Wednesdays. Is today Wednesday? It is today. God, I'm sorry. I thought today was Tuesday. Today is Wednesday. It is world-famous J. Michael's spaghetti today, baby. Cannot wait. I will be there. I love it. It's unbelievable. I missed it last week. I will not miss it this week. And also, Dr. Ward, you've opened up new businesses everywhere, new office. Where's the newest Dr. Ward's?
We are in Watersound, Florida. We opened on August 1st, and it is going great. So if you live on the west end of Panama City Beach or the east end of Walton County, we would be your closest, most convenient office. And because we just opened, we've got appointments available pretty much right away.
I want all my friends on 30A. Yeah. Get that skin checked, baby. Matter of fact, I might come in with Dr. Ward and help you when you come in there. I know some out there that are Probably need to be checked, though. I got to be careful who's listening. Right? I'll just shut up on that one.
We love people who love the beach.
There you go. Yeah, you do. I bet you do. I love people that go to closing that use Chuck Tucker. All the big-time realtors, they demand that we use Chuck Tucker, and they'll talk to you and say, hey, your choice. You do your homework, you're going to pick South Oak Title and Closing. That is Chuck Tucker, number one, not even close. I was at American Charlie's yesterday for lunch, saw Mike. They do such a wonderful job down there. Go try them out. Also, don't forget about El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, happy hour 4 to 7. Jared called me last night, texted me last night, Dad, let's go tomorrow. And I said, well, we might.
He wants to hear that mariachi band.
No, every time we take him, he gets a steak fajitas.
Sizzling smoking on the way out.
Yeah, it costs a lot of money, too. But anyway, it's good. There's no doubt about that. It's good. We'll be right back. Brian's in the house. Dr. Ward, FSU coming up, brought to you by all the newbies out there. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the 5-year flyaway from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Ron West, you just won the 5-year flyaway to see the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, good gosh almighty. Oh, I lived there in Georgia. My wife and I was there when they went from last to first in 1990.
Oh, man.
And, you just made my heart. I'm an old Buford, Georgia boy.
We're sending you home, Ron. We're sending you home.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good Wednesday morning. I'm forecasting partly to mostly sunny skies, but showers and thunderstorms will be in the forecast for today and tonight. The high temperature right around 90 and the overnight temperature about 75. Wind southwest 10 to 15, water temperature in the Gulf 87. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies, as well as new and vintage cards. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 633 North Highway 231 and can also be reached at instantReplaySportsCards.com.
Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers on Panama City Beach. Fresh, never frozen chicken tenders fried to perfection and served with their famous signature Guthrie sauce. Guthrie's box, snack, and chicken sandwich are sure to please. And for larger gatherings, try the family meal or Guthrie's Chicken Finger Bucket. Let Guthrie's cater your next event. Find their daily specials on Facebook. On Front Beach Road across from the Beach Shopping Center. Since 1965. Fresh, hot, and fast. Now available on DoorDash and Uber Eats.
His biggest fear about the zombie apocalypse is all the walking. It's the Coach James Hale Show, live from the J. Michael Studio on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Florida State, Florida State, Florida State. Woo! I was out walking yesterday, saw some big, fine people in Bay Point. I had a little golf cart, asked them, I said, you going to FSU games? He said, yes, sir, we're going to be there. Him and his beautiful wife are going to be. We got so many people just in Bay Point alone that were Florida State fans, they're going to be there. So
yeah.
It's going to be fun going to the game. We're getting closer and closer. LSU, FSU. All right, Brian, what do you got on? Wait, before we get into FSU, we want you to encourage you to go out to all the newbies, especially newbies two on the curve, watch all sporting events. It's been remodeled inside. It's absolutely beautiful. Go watch all these college football games getting ready to get cranked up there. NFL games, you name it, right there at Newbies 2. We all know the mothership's a legendary place, the best bands in the Southeast always, especially on Friday and Saturday night. Go tell them Coach sent you. John and Sharp do such a wonderful job. And I know Sharp's excited about FSU. They better be good this year, she said. What do you got?
Oh, on Dr. Ward's favorite segment of the day? Well,
yeah, Ward loves them. Deep down, he loves those Seminoles.
It's a lot of fun to talk about Florida State as a Gator fan.
Let's go through a couple little things so we can save football for the end, but just a couple other notes out of the athletic department. FSU women's soccer has opened as preseason #1 in the nation.
All right.
Of course,
With a new coach, right?
They do. They have a new coach, Coach Brian Penske, was hired in from Tennessee after Coach Mark Krikorian resigned after winning the third national championship in school history back in December. Now, this was the United Soccer Coaches preseason top 25 poll, and FSU returned 7 starters from that team. And it was interesting. Coach Penske was asked about everything, and he's, the hardest thing for him was it was kind of a surprise resignation, and so a lot of kids entered the portal not sure what they were going to do. So as soon as Penske was hired, he had to hit the ground running just to get with all the players, make sure they were confident in him and his coaching staff. And so all of those players came out of the portal and decided to stay, but then he missed the recruiting window, so he had to go in and bring some players in. I know he had one really good transfer from Mississippi State who's come in. So preseason number 1 for the Lady Seminoles. Over to track and field, freshman Curtis Williams. Now, he finished 4th in the long jump at the World Under-20 Championships. Now, this was down in Cali, Colombia. No truth to the rumor that they were jumping over Pablo Escobar's grave or anything down there, but I imagine you can run pretty fast down in Cali, Colombia.
You got to run fast through any grave. You know that.
But the long jump for Curtis Williams, 7.86 meters. That is his personal best, and he was the top American. He just missed out on the podium, but he is a freshman, so coming in for FSU, that looks good for their track and field team. Now on to the gridiron, or almost. FSU offered 4-star Logansville, Georgia athlete Kylan Fox. He's a rising junior, so class of 24, 6'5", 215. He's the number 191 overall prospect and number 26 athlete. But I have a feeling that number's going to go up because he's got over 3 dozen offers already. And listen to who he's got offers from: Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, LSU, Michigan, Ohio State, to name a few.
He's a pretty good ball player.
I'd say that he's got some interest out there from players. So FSU's offered him. I believe they had him in July, and I'm sure he'll be in there multiple times. So Kylan Fox, Doc is texting Billy Napier right now saying get on this. But he does have offer from Florida as well. So
I think Doc's going to offer him an NIL deal. Can we use your skin to do commercials with up here in Northwest Florida?
Yeah, no truth to the rumor he's going to be at the Water Sound office tomorrow. Well, FSU's first day in full pads was yesterday, and Coach Norvell kind of talked, and a lot of it was just general coach speak, but there were some tidbits there at the end, so I'm going to go through some of it. He said, we got a little bit of serious work in. We've been putting the kids into situations. I've kind of liked the way that the guys have worked. This was one of those 3-day stretches where we really wanted to push their bodies. I thought we had some good physical work out there over the last few days. He said they did a good job for the most part working with each other on a lot of the drills, but he said that we tried to put them into series where they had to understand the situations that arose throughout and that were unscripted. So very much kind of getting them out there into game situations without a whole lot of planning and seeing how they reacted. He said he did like the competition. There was a lot of good competition. He is worried a little bit about some finishing, so there were a lot of drops with the receivers and a few missed opportunities to finish plays. He said he expects a little of that early on, but it's still problematic, things you want to clean up. They need to be better at finishing, and he was very candid. Glenn Manley, you may need to head over to Tallahassee. He said the specialists had their worst day so far, and he's talking specifically about the snappers, the kickers, and the punters.
First day in full pads. You're going to expect that.
So he said we're going to have to get better there. He did like some of what they were doing in the return game, but I'd say that the specialists will start today in the doghouse. But
that'll improve. Because seriously, I'm not kidding. You got used to the helmet, shoulder pads, all the pads on. It takes a couple days for those guys to get used to it.
But generally speaking, he was pretty pleased with the effort and the competitiveness, which is good. That is certainly something you want to see, especially from a team who's suffered from that maybe over the last couple of years. But they do need to clean up the finishing. They do need to clean up some of the details, specifically with the receivers. But
catch and tuck, baby, catch and tuck.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, hey, we're into August now. I mean, FSU's got the game against Duquesne before the end of this month. I mean, we're 3 weeks out?
Yeah.
Crazy to think.
They get the little warm up, they get a little scrimmage, and get all the kinks worked out. LSU will sit there and watch that tape. So LSU had advantage of watching their film, where FSU will not have any film to watch on LSU.
But they'll have the advantage of playing.
Exactly.
And working some
getting a little bit better,
out.
maybe a little bit better shape, game shape. Who knows? But there's risk for injury, like there is every day at practice. I don't know what that's a big advantage.
I'd prefer to play personally. I'd prefer to have a game under my belt than I would just go in cold.
I'd prefer to have the best talent on the field, which is going to be the problem for Florida State.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I do agree with you. You look at the roster, you got to believe that LSU is going to have more talent. They're 2 years out of winning a national championship. They recruited a high level.
But
great talent there.
But that's another reason I'd prefer to have a game in hand because you
got
have
a new coach.
Cohesiveness would be a little bit better, hopefully, in that. I mean, if you're at a talent disparity, you want the experience advantage.
You got 30,000 people there, FSU. You're going to have 46,000 there for LSU. The whole city's going to be for LSU. It's going to be fun being over there. But, Doc, take off your SEC hat. I'm looking at that the better team at the end of the year might be LSU. But at the beginning of the year, you would have to give some advantage to FSU, like he just pointed out. They've played a game. Their coaching staff been together for 3 years. LSU's got a brand new coach. They haven't been together for, the first ever fall practice together, fall camp. But then you got advantage of more or less a home game. What do you think is going to happen? Who's going to win the football game? Way too early to pick, but who do you think?
Well, if I'm going by the last time I watched FSU play football, that would have been the Florida State game at the end of the year last year. And that was the absolute worst college football game I've ever watched in my entire life.
Yeah.
Because both teams absolutely were horrible.
I agree.
And now, if Florida State in this spring, in this off season, have found some discipline and maybe have taught Jordan Travis how to play the quarterback position and all these other things, maybe Florida State can stay in the game. I just don't see. I just think LSU is on-field talent is so good. They have a head coach who's coming in. Granted, he's new, but he's got a history of success. I'm taking LSU in this game. I mean, I haven't seen the point spread, but I would assume it's probably LSU favored by 7-8 points. I think you take LSU because I think they're going to win.
Go back a year ago. That same football coach with a lot more talent goes into Tallahassee and was very lucky to win a football game. The same coach with better players at Notre Dame. FSU probably should have won that game.
Yeah, but LSU has a home game.
That is true.
I mean,
that is true.
They're in New Orleans. It's a home game for them.
The consensus line is LSU -3.
Ooh, jump on that! Hey, bet. This is a lock. I'm actually gonna go when we leave here today. I'm
Stone
taking
cold
LSU
lead pipe lock.
Stone cold guaranteed.
I tell you what, he's talking about if you get hurt on the way to the game or the back of the game, fall down, injured something, call Dr. Chad Mitchell, Southern Orthopedics. Go by see Chad, legendary doctor here. He's on every Monday, does an incredible job. And I tried to put him on the hot seat, and he wouldn't really. I can't. Did we ask him about FSU, LSU? I know we did.
Yeah, we did.
I can't remember what he said.
But he wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, he was probably more worried about your foot.
Commit,
He was trying to look at your foot up under the table, make sure he did a good
Wouldn't
job.
commit. That sounds like Florida State recruiting.
And that is not for 104.3. That is for Dr. Ward there.
That number again for Dr. Ward.
I hope Glenn's not listening.
If you love golf, get out to Bay Point. Ryan Movey and Bay Point Golf Club 72. Wonderful place. Both of them, they do a great job. Ryan will be in here Friday. Looking forward to that. Rudy's Barbecue on Back Beach Road. The best barbecue. Unbelievable turkey sandwich. Not far from your office on Back Beach Road.
Yeah, I love their barbecue, especially that turkey.
Oh, my God. Turkey's something good. All right, we'll be right back. Dr. Ward, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Uh-oh.
I better go.
It's the 5-year flyaway from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Ron West, you just won the 5-year flyaway to see the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, good gosh almighty. Oh, I lived there in Georgia. My wife and I was there when they went from last to first in 1990.
Oh, man.
And, you just made my heart. I'm an old Buford, Georgia boy.
We're sending you home, Ron.
We're sending you home.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hear that? That's the plumpest, juiciest hot dogs you've ever seen getting their grill on. But we both know what'll make it sound even better. Oh, yeah. It's a Pepsi to go with your hot dog. Because when you're chomping on America's favorite meal, relish, mustard, and onions perfectly blending into a crescendo of flavor, there's only one thing that makes everything about that moment better. A cold, refreshing Pepsi. One mouth-watering sip is all it takes to make this whole experience go from pretty good to jaw-droppingly, table-poundingly incredible. Don't believe me? Just listen. See what I mean? It's like music to my ears. And if you'll excuse me, I have a date with the two most beautiful things I've ever seen. Or heard. Hot dogs. Better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Buffalo Rock Company in Panama City is currently accepting applications for delivery merchandisers, as well as other positions. Please apply online at buffalorock.com/careers. Buffalo Rock Company is an equal opportunity employer. It is Buffalo Rock Company policy to provide equal employment opportunities to all qualified applicants, without regard to race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, national origin, age, protected veteran, or disabled status. The newest and most authentic Mexican restaurant on Panama City Beach, El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, 1136 Thomas Drive, across from the Navy base. Not only do they have a great location and atmosphere, but they also have happy hour from 3 to 7. Buy one, get one free, regular margaritas and 12-ounce house drafts. And you're gonna love their lunch specials Monday through Friday from 11 to 3. Plus, live music on Wednesdays and Saturdays from 5:30 until 9. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, Thomas Drive, across from the Navy base.
If aliens showed up tomorrow and said, "Take us to your leader," you'd bring them to the Coach James Hale Show.
Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Live from the J. Michaels Studio on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Brian and Dr. Ward's with us this morning on a beautiful Wednesday. And just a reminder that it is Wednesday, J. Michaels, world-famous J. Michaels spaghetti every Wednesday. Tell them Coach sent you, go try it. You will absolutely love it. Dr. Ward, you mentioned something the other day about the discipline, that last segment about the discipline. And that's the key to life, having the self-discipline, because you know right from wrong. Can Mr. Evil be defeated in your mind to do the right thing every single day? That's the problem in society today. That's the problem with our government. It's self-discipline. We're spending money that we'll never have. We will never be able to pay it back, and they just continue to do it. That's self-discipline. Raising a family. The teachers are leaving left and right. The paperwork that's put on them. But the other main thing, the discipline. The kids aren't disciplined anymore. It's crazy. So you're right. The football team with the most discipline usually going to win the game. Most talent, most discipline, most character, most chemistry is going to win a football game. The most successful people in life usually are very well disciplined. I don't think you can be successful without having self-discipline. I really don't. So that was a great point you made.
You think discipline begets talent or vice versa?
You got to have talent. Yeah. You got to have talent. You cannot win. I've said this forever. You cannot win without talent, but you can lose with it. Mm-hmm. I've seen coaches lose with great talent, but I've never seen them win without great talent. If I had better players than you had, I'm going to beat you 9 out of 10 times.
Well, there generally is a correlation between the way you've developed your talent as an individual and your self-discipline. I mean, if you've got innate talent, but you're making bad decisions, you're gonna do worse and worse and worse. I was just commenting on a former 5-star running back, DeMarcus Bowman, who about 4 years ago was the hot recruit. He committed to Clemson.
Yeah. Was he out of Lakeland?
Yeah, he was out of Lakeland, committed to Clemson, and then he kind of burns out there, transfers to Florida, and everyone from Florida says, "Oh, look, we finally got a 5-star," and then he doesn't do much at Florida. Now he's at UCF. I guess pretty soon he's going to be at Gulf Coast State College in their inaugural football team or something. I mean,
it goes back to him.
So why does someone with all that talent fall. Clearly,
And it's not because
discipline.
of an injury or anything
No,
like
no,
that.
no,
It's just
it's
because.
discipline.
Mr. Evil is in every one of us. Mr. Evil is in your mind. He's always trying to get you to do the opposite of good. I used to tell my football players, it's going to be hot in the morning, you're going to be tired, sore. That's back when we used to do two-a-days. I said, now, Mr. Evil's going to be there telling you, lay in bed, this bed feels good, not going to practice and be in this area. That's all. Oh. But Mr. Good's going to say, no, I got a commitment. I said I was going to do this. I need to get up and do it. I said, who's going to win it over? Is Mr. Evil or Mr. Good's going to win? And hopefully Mr. Good's going to win every single time.
Why's it got to be Mr. Evil?
Whatever.
You misogynist.
That's what I said. I mean, it is what it is. But that kid, you could tell right there that running back you were talking about, I knew back then he didn't have character. I knew back then he didn't have self-discipline because everybody knows you come out of Lakeland High School and you're a 5-star, 4-star, you're going to Florida Gators. I mean, that's Florida country right there. You look at all the players that come out of Lakeland High School that play for Bill Castle, if they're great players, they were going to Florida. And that kid showed you right. I knew way back. I said, something's wrong. I remember, I don't know if you were on the show then or not, but I remember we were talking. I said, guys, something's wrong. I coached in Polk County. Those kids always, and there was a big bull gator over there too. Them kids always go to Florida. I'm not saying anything was done wrong. I'm just saying that they always went to Florida. And this kid, all of a sudden, I said, Clemson's not squeaky clean.
Dabo would never do anything.
Yeah, right. When that happened, I knew then that they ain't squeaky clean at Clemson. I'm telling you that right
Just
now.
gave him a pizza party. That's all.
Yeah, they gave him a pizza. Yeah, they had a box of something. It wasn't pizza. All right, I got to ask you this, Doc. All right, Brian, don't look at my cheat sheet.
All right.
You can look. We'll ask him. The Big Four. When I say the Big Four of the state of Florida, I'm talking about the national champs, Central Florida, national champ winners, Florida State, national champ winners, Florida, national champ winners, Miami. Out of the past 15 years, what is the winningest team in the state of Florida of the Big Four?
Oh, I know. See, I'm a really good test taker, so I know the answer just because you would only ask that if the answer were Central Florida.
I fooled you.
Yeah. Well, remember, they had that 0-11 year in there.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
So it's my Gators then.
The Florida Gators are the winningest team in the state of Florida for the last 15 years.
Now, it's pretty close, though. Central Florida and Florida are relatively close.
You're exactly. You knocked out the ballpark.
Yeah.
I'm going to go down it with you. Florida won 130 games. They lost 63. All right. At number 2, and then we're going to hold off on the 3 and 4. But at number 2, the national champs, 2017 national champs. Yeah, right. Roll Tide. Central Florida, 125 wins and 67 losses. 67 losses.
So about 4 games up on them.
All right, let's jump on to Florida State and Miami. Who won more games the last 15 years?
No. I'm pretty sure that this is pretty close too, because Florida State had some decent years, Miami had some decent years, but I think Florida State's had a few more good years.
Absolutely.
Than Miami.
Absolutely.
So I'm going with Florida State, number 3.
Florida State Seminoles came in 3rd in the great state of Florida. That's so weird them coming in 3rd. 120 wins. Now, the Miami Hurricanes have gone through so many different coaches. They only won 111 games. 111 games. Florida State lost 66. Miami lost 78. 78 football games. Now, let's talk about this. If Central Florida played in the SEC, would they have 125 wins right now? No. Would they have the 2017 National Championship fake trophy? No. If FSU and Miami played in the SEC, would they have the wins they have? No. We're just keeping it real. All right, your next question from the great state of Florida. Which of these 4 teams, the Big Four, has more bowl victories in the last 15 years? Is it Central Florida? Is it FSU? Is it Florida? Or is it Miami?
I got to go with Florida on that.
Amen. Roll Gators. 8-5. Well, that's a tie.
Ahead of yourself.
It's a tie.
It's a tie.
But
they were first.
But
they were tied.
They were tied for FSU. But if you go by winning percentages, they're second. Who's first?
Florida State.
Florida State.
They didn't make as many bowl games.
No, Florida State went 8-4. Yeah, you're right. And Florida went 8-5. Who was third? Who was third?
Central Florida.
Absolutely. Central Florida was 6-6 in bowl games last 15 years. Florida
No
State
way he gets this record.
8-4, and University of Florida was 8-5. What was Miami's bowl record in the last 15 years?
I would have never got this.
I think Miami has probably made 9 bowl games, and they have done okay in their bowl games. So I'd probably say they're maybe like 5-4, 5-3.
Okay, let's go back. Let's go back. How many say 9? They actually played in 11. So I'm gonna help you out. They played in 11 bowl games. What was the record last 15 years? Miami Hurricanes.
You know, if they played in 11, I must be forgetting a couple that they didn't do well in. So I'll say 5 and 6.
1 in 10.
Whoa!
I never would have thought that.
I wouldn't either.
I would have been just like Doc, right around 500.
I agree with you 100%.
Crazy.
1 in 10 bowl record for the mighty Hurricane. If you're a Hurricane fan out there, and we do have quite a few here in Northwest Florida, your glory days are going to come back. Hey, Cristobal can coach. He can recruit. I'm telling you, they're coming. They're going to
Big John to put the pads back on.
Miami is tops in the state for 2023 recruiting.
Yes, sir,
now.
baby. They are knocking out of the ballpark.
They are. Cristobal.
Just keep the Southern boys
Cristobal's
home.
getting them crystal balls.
Yeah, they are, true. Man. He's doing a heck of a job. He knows what he's doing.
And he's doing it with no facilities.
Yeah.
Well,
they must have some serious bags
and
of cash.
honestly, there is
South
talk.
Beach.
There is talk of them that the Big Ten might come after them. That would be the greatest thing in the world for Miami. The amount of money they'd make there compared to the ACC.
That would take care of their facility if they did.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, would you rather, if you're a Miami fan, you live down there in the South, you got to remember a lot of people down there in Miami are not from the South. They move in from everywhere. Would you, if you're Miami, would you rather be in the SEC and have an Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma come down there and play every other year, or would you rather Ohio State, Michigan, Wisconsin, Penn State coming down there?
Well, it's an interesting question because I wonder how those kids will enjoy going to play a road game in Madison, Wisconsin in November.
In the heat. Yeah.
In the heat?
Yeah. No. I'm talking about when they came down to Miami. Yeah. Oh, Miami going up north in that freezing weather? Ooh, Lord, it has. I wouldn't want to do that. But the money, man, they're going to make $80 million to $100 million a year. Their academics are outstanding. The Big Ten already got L.A., they already got Chicago, they got New York. Now let's give them Miami. Or do you want them? You're a Florida guy. I know a lot of Florida fans. I know a lot of Florida coaches don't want them.
The SEC doesn't need any other Florida teams. The Gators are the preeminent university in the state, as declared by the governor and the Florida legislature. Why does the SEC need anything more?
All right, let's hold it right there. Let's talk about some of our great people. I know Dr. Ward loves these people, and so do I. I go there all the time. Brian goes there all the time. That's Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Bat Beach Road. You know why? We have discipline. We care about our appearance. We want our vehicles to look brand new. That's the reason we all go to Blue Sky Express Car Wash. The self-discipline we have, the character we have, the chemistry we have, the locker room. I mean, we got it all.
We do have clean cars.
I'm overdue. I got to get over there this afternoon.
I had shaved today. I got a pair of shorts on.
Of all of those statements, we do have clean cars.
Well, with radio, you can wear whatever you want. Nobody knows, but they put you on this Facebook stuff, and I never wanted to be on that, but they
no Zoom.
Unbelievable.
Please, no
keep
Zoom.
it off me. Put it on
off
Doc.
the contract.
And we want to thank Newbies again. Didn't give them enough love. They do such a good job over there, all 3 Newbies. And they always give back to the community. I remember one time we were doing a show at another network, and we were involved with that. And they were buying equipment for the fire department over in Panama City Beach. John Sharp, wonderful people. Get out to Newbies, have a great time. Tell them Coach sent you. Dr. Ward, tell us about all the different places. And skin cancer is deadly. I think people don't give it enough respect. You get melanoma, buddy, it'll get your attention real quick.
That's right. If you notice anything change in size, shape, color, bleeding for no reason, you need to come get it checked. A 5-minute skin check could save the life of you or a loved one. It's really easy to call us. Our number is 233-3376. We have one of 8 area convenient locations. We are in Panama City Beach, Port St. Joe, Santa Rosa Beach, Defuniak Springs, Bonifay and Mariana, and we just opened that 8th office in Watersound. So
same number for all locations. One
same
call does
number
it all.
One call does it all. Yes,
And
absolutely.
you just tell them where you live and what's the. I always go, I'm going with awards at. I want the stud.
You can request the office or you can request the doctor. It's up to you. We are very patient centric.
Listen, I'm not being funny whatsoever, but when I come in the next time, I want the deep. I want to be checked everywhere because I've been in the sun so much lately. I usually cover up all the time. I've been pretty bad lately, taking our granddaughters to Shipwreck. We take them there a lot.
We
So
love
I gotta be
Shipwreck.
careful. Yeah, I know. I could feel it. I mean, honest to God, I could feel. I said, "Good Lord, man, I got to put my shirt back on." I hated doing it because all the women were looking at me.
I was going to say,
I'm not saying they were.
We all
laughing.
agree. Put your shirt back
on. The gut looked good. The gut was look good. I tell you what, if you got a problem with that gut, you worried about this any type of virus, and it ain't going away. That's what viruses just don't leave. You got to get down to Max Fit Sports Nutrition. You got to go see Jason Kovaleski. If you got a son right now or a daughter involved in sports and you want to get an edge, you want to learn about nutrition, what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, what you should be taking, what you shouldn't be doing, your training, you name it. Jason Kovaleski is a stud. Go by and see him at Max Fit Sports Nutrition. He does an incredible job. Go by. Is out there at Pier Park, right by Dick's Sporting Goods. We'll be right back. 104.3 ESPN Northwest. I got Brian. I got the man, the myth, the legend, Dr. Ward with us. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has the real local fishing report. This is Tim from Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle. Join me every Thursday afternoon at 5:15 during the Afternoon Underdogs and Friday mornings during the 6 a.m. hour. It's accurate, concise content from local anglers right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good Wednesday morning. I'm forecasting partly to mostly sunny skies, but showers and thunderstorms will be in the forecast for today and tonight. The high temperature right around 90 and the overnight temperature about 75. Wind southwest 10 to 15, water temperature in the Gulf 87. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Hello, this is Rick Vossen with RV of Panama City, your local Stormore portable building dealer. We are located on 2241 East Baldwin Road, Panama City. Shopping for an 8-foot to 16-foot in width or 10-foot to 60-foot in length, cabin, garage, portable building, whatever the needs are. Remember, at Stormore, we can insulate our buildings. We can put electric on, thermal windows, transom dormers. There's so much we can do. Stormore Portable Buildings, 2241 East Baldwin Road.
Eye care is important. So why is it that you're often crammed into waiting rooms, rushed in and out of appointments, and left feeling like the physician and staff don't care about you at all? At the Eye Studio, things are done differently. The friendly and knowledgeable staff utilize state-of-the-art equipment and testing, plus education to achieve the best results for every patient. If you're looking for a positive, personalized, modern eye care experience, the Eye Studio is the place for you. Visit eyestudiopcb.com for more information.
And here we go. The #1 SEC call-in show is now twice as big. The Paul Feinbaum Show. Weekday evenings 6 to 10. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. August 27th, week 0. Doc, out of all these games, which one are you looking forward to the most? Vandy at Hawaii. You know the commissioner's going over to Hawaii? That game will kick off at 10:30 on CBS Sports. Nevada at New Mexico State. I don't know what time the game is, and I don't care. Austin P at Western Kentucky. You might care about that one. 12 o'clock, CBS Sports. Idaho State versus UNLV, 3:30, CBS Sports. I guess they got a bunch of things they do with that. UConn at Utah State. Utah State. That's who Alabama was up with, right? So they got a game before Bama.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We're in trouble, Coach.
I'm telling you what, they got a good little ball club
They have
out
a good
there.
coach.
I know they're coached really well. He'll have them ready to play for Bama. I'm telling you, that's gonna be. I don't think it'll be a huge blowout.
I'm on money on all these games. I'm interested.
This is that going to be at Fox Sports. I think that's a 4:00 kickoff. And then FSU. Who they playing? I can't even name.
Duquesne.
Who?
Duquesne.
Is that a paint company? Where are they? Where's Duquesne?
No, you're taking
Where are
it
they
for a
from?
headache.
It's somewhere up in the Northeast, I think. I'll
Pittsburgh.
look.
I have no clue.
I don't know. Anyway,
Dakotas.
that's 7:00.
I tell you
CBS
what,
Sports.
Yeah, it is in Pittsburgh.
It is in Pittsburgh.
And it's got an S in the name.
They make all
Figure
that
that
paint
out.
up there. So anyway.
Yeah, I think it doesn't it look like it's Dunesque or something like that. But
Yeah.
you actually-
DUQUESNE.
Yeah.
Help me with that.
Somehow you get Duquesne out of that.
I don't know.
I spell it DUKAIN.
Yeah. Anyway, Charlotte at Florida Atlantic at 7:00 CBS Sports. You got Florida A&M at North Carolina. Wow. 8:15 ACC Network. I didn't know that. North Texas State at UTEP. 9:00 kickoff. I don't care what channel. Nebraska. I do want to watch this. Nebraska at Northwestern. 12:30 on Fox. Isn't that out of the country? And they're playing somewhere.
Is that the Ireland game?
I think it is. I think that's played out of the United States. I'm pretty sure. Look that up. Wyoming at Illinois. I watched Illinois Nebraska. I think it was last year, week 0, up in Birmingham. I
Wasn't
believe we
that
were
a
up there.
horrible game? Wasn't that another game that was just horrible?
Illinois did beat them. Did they?
I think Illinois did beat them.
Yeah, I
but
watched
I think
that
it was
game.
one of those games.
It was
just
sloppy,
both teams
yeah.
with
Yeah.
a comedy of errors.
Yeah, a lot of turnovers.
Nebraska Northwestern live from Dublin.
Dublin, okay.
Ireland.
Yeah. Dublin. That's north of Birmingham, Alabama, I do believe.
Just a little.
Wyoming's at
And a
4
little
o'clock.
bit east.
Yeah, a little bit east. Long way over there.
There is a Dublin, Ohio.
That's by
though.
Kelsey's Creek, Kelsey's Pond, somewhere over there. Anyway, but Doc, out of all those games, seriously, that's not a good week 0. But anything you're looking forward to watching? Who would you pick out 2 games?
Well, I got to tell you, I'm excited for those Cornhuskers, those kids at Nebraska. That they finally get to have a game where they get to travel somewhere. You know, they don't really make bowls, so that Dublin game's gonna almost feel like a bowl for those poor kids at Nebraska that never get a postseason.
You are mean. Dr. Ward, he is tough, baby.
I love it. I think it's, you would expect like a Boston College or something with some kind of Irish roots. I don't think Irish when I think Nebraska, but good for them. I'll watch it just for that.
They grow potatoes in Nebraska, don't they?
That's
I know
corn.
they got to have potatoes to go with all that corn.
No,
Michigan Eddie.
I'll watch it just to see what it looks like. There's like a 48,000 seat stadium. It's a nice looking stadium, but
Michigan Eddie just texted in and said I didn't say that correctly. Thank you, Michigan Eddie. I appreciate that. That's just a Southern thing.
That coming from a Yankee.
Yeah. I don't know. Michigan is really truly not a Yankee.
that game will be interesting to watch, though.
All right, how is home field? Is it really a big advantage for certain programs? Let's look at Vandy. Was it a big advantage for them the past 5 years of playing a home game? Their 5-year record.
Have you been to a Vandy game?
I have.
I've seen it on TV. I've never been. Now, have you been to their stadium?
Yes.
I've never been to their stadium.
So they should rename Vandy games because they're not really Vandy home games. They're SEC takeover games.
I was going to say,
Georgia, Alabama.
So
I have never seen more Vandy fans in the Vanderbilt Stadium than the opponents, ever.
Well, because it's a fun trip. I mean, it's
Yes.
like, even Gators were like, yeah, let's go to Nashville. We'll have a great time.
Vandy fans
Already
make
it's
great
illegal
money
to text
selling
and
their
drive.
tickets to visitors. Yeah.
Michigan, you're from Chicago? No wonder. All right, Vandy's home record last 5 years, 12-21.
That's a terrible stadium.
Coming in next to last, I was shocked at this one. Arkansas, 14-18 home record. Did that surprise you, Doc? 14-18 by Arkansas. I thought it'd be better.
They had the Chad Morris year.
Yeah, that's right. Chad Morris,
Arkansas
that's
has
right.
been pretty bad.
The last 5 year, right? Sam Pittman's got it rolling. Tennessee, their 5-year record at home, 18-17 over the last 5 years.
Still too many wins.
How many times have Florida beaten them? Has Florida been up there twice the last 5 years or 3 times?
Florida
Whatever.
has beaten Tennessee every single year except for 2016, and that goes all the way back, I think, to 2004 or 2005. It's a pretty significant. I think we're like 18-1 in the last 9 games against Tennessee.
All right.
19. Yeah.
Coming at number 11. This surprised me. I didn't think they'd be as higher than Tennessee, but coming number 11 was South Carolina, 19-14 last 5 years. That surprised me.
South Carolina's always a tough out.
That's a
great
loud,
fans.
fun stadium. Even when they're losing, that place turns.
They
out.
probably got some of the best fans in the country.
Do. Y'all remember they beat Georgia at home that one year that Georgia was supposed to be good? Yeah, totally ruined their season.
The year they went 0-11, they sold out 91,000 every home game.
Wow. Number 10. Here's your top 10. Best records last 5 years. Home record. Ole Miss Rebels, 20 wins, 13 losses. 20 wins, 13 losses. I thought it would be better. I really did. Number 9, somebody's Mississippi State Bulldogs. 21-12.
Scott Field Fortress.
That's a loud stadium, man. The cowbells give you a headache, I'm telling you. I didn't realize this. Missouri in the last 5 years is better than some of these teams I thought they were behind.
Tough place.
Missouri at home, 23-11. It gets cold there at the end of the season. Florida struggles. Georgia has struggled over there. Yeah, they play pretty well at home. Number 7, man, good job, Kentucky. Home field advantage. 25-9.
Wow.
25-9. Now Florida's ahead of them by percentage. Okay, the Gators at home the last 5 years 23-7.
No, you want to know? You notice Florida has fewer home games than everyone else because they play a neutral site game with Georgia every year.
Jacksonville. Yeah.
That is a good, yeah, that's true. And that's getting ready to come to an end.
Nah.
Yes.
I know Kirby keeps saying, yeah, we want a home game.
All right, you know what you sound like? You sound like Alabama fans when we all said, there ain't no way. We ain't playing that. It ain't leaving Birmingham. It ain't leaving Birmingham. Guess what?
It ain't leaving Jacksonville.
All right.
It ain't leaving Jacksonville.
Just tell you. Ray Perkins said it will never happen. It happened.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it's your home game. Georgia's got the choice. Georgia makes this choice. They're going to have to bump up the money to keep Georgia there. Kirby said they're not going to lose another week of recruiting. So I think I'm going to go. I disagree with you. I think Kirby gets his way. What are we going to bet on it?
We'll see.
A lunch? A Rudy's card?
No, it's not. It's not worth lunch. How about dinner? Dinner. It's got to be dinner.
All right.
We're up to dinner now.
All right. I'm going to say. I hope I'm still alive when this happens. At top 5, here's your top 5 winningest teams at home the past 5 years. Anybody got an idea who number 5 is without cheating?
Well, I'm cheating.
I'm cheating.
All right, Texas A&M, 25-7. I tell you guys all the time, Auburn is a tough place to go in there and win. Their fans are crazy. It is extremely loud. It's hard to win at Auburn. Watch the Iron Bowl game every year. It's hard to win there. Auburn is number 4, 26-7. LSU is number 3 with a 25-6 record. Okay. Yep. Number 2, the Georgia Bulldogs, 28-1, and then number 1, Roll Damn Tide, 32-1. Who did they lose to the last 5? You're right.
Yeah.
Who was at that game? Almost
President
as famous.
Trump.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And his wife.
The real presidents.
The one that won the race. Yeah.
And Coach Hale.
Yeah, I was right. I'm telling you, he looked right at me. He waved.
You're responsible for that loss.
You know how I know he looked at me and looked back at me? Because I was waving. And I saw him go. True story. I'm telling you. He looked
Make my
right
hands
at me.
great again.
Yeah. He said, come up here, boy. I can help you out. Go see Dr. Ward.
So who beat Georgia at home? I'm trying to remember. Did South Carolina beat them in Athens?
Alabama beat them at home.
Last 5 years. That's right. Last 5 years they have.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was the reigning. It might have been Kirby's first year or Mark Rick's last. I think it was Alabama.
I know South Carolina beat them a couple
sure
years ago.
Okay.
Or was it Tennessee on that pass?
That's
Remember
more
that
than
pass?
5 years
That
ago.
was more than 5 years. If anybody knows who's beaten Georgia in the last 5 years at home, give us a call. Yeah. We think it's Bama. We're not sure on that one. Can you look it up, Brian? Maybe you can do it. We can call it. Call in. I'll give you a card. We can both go out to lunch today. All right, let's talk about some of our great people. I tell you what, man. If you love pizza, there's only one place to go: Paparazzi Gourmet Deli. Not only will you get the greatest pizza in the world, try out the bakery. They've got the best cakes. You name it, they've got it. The Napoleon's unbelievable, but that Paradise cake, the Italian cream's pretty good too. Carrot cake's outstanding. Go try it. You love it. The deli is incredible. He's a retired police officer. We love John. He is a wonderful man. They got great employees down there. Great atmosphere. Paparazzi Gourmet Deli on Thomas Drive. We'll be right back. Bama's coming up. Dr. Ward, Big Brian, 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Hello, Pat. The first time I ever saw you in person, you were in Jacksonville. I showed up with a sign that said Pat from Warner Robins, and it got shown on TV. We had some short conversations while y'all would go to commercial, but that was the first time I saw you in person, and I've been in love with you ever since, Paul.
The Paul Feinbaum Show, weekdays 6 to 10 on 102.1 and 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good Wednesday morning. I'm forecasting partly to mostly sunny skies, but showers and thunderstorms will be in the forecast for today and tonight. The high temperature right around 90 and the overnight temperature about 75. Wind southwest 10 to 15, water temperature in the Gulf 87. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Sykes Concrete has been in business in this area since 1947, and 3 generations later, they're still going strong. See Sykes Concrete for dirt, sand, rock, and concrete. They can handle any size job from the smallest to the largest. Sykes Concrete pays CDL truck drivers some of the highest wages in Bay County, making $50,000 to $75,000 a year, including holiday and vacation pay, plus health insurance. See Hugh Sykes at Sykes Concrete, 8030 Highway 77 on the right, just north of Southport Elementary School.
We're your home for live sports. WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, Power Pepsi, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Reliable Coffee Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Coffee Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Smothers at 784-6601. 784-6601. Reliable Coffee Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
Put down your natural light. It's time for the Alabama Update. The Alabama Update, weekday mornings at 8. On the Coach James Hale Show at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Roll Tide. Alabama Updates brought to you by Stevenson Air Conditioning. If you have any type of problem, day or night, call Stevenson Air Conditioning. They'll come solve all problems. They are number one. They are incredible. Jason, brother, we love you. You do an unbelievable job. Dr. Ward got a brand new unit put in his entire house. He said, man, those guys are the best. So go use Stevenson Air Conditioning. Appreciate the Alabama Update. Mr. James, how you doing today, buddy?
What's happening?
Oh, man, we're just trying to survive here with Dr. Ward. He's being mean to me.
Well, I was going to try to get my daggum NIL money. I tried to get to win the contest, but my father-in-law won it, so he'll enjoy his time.
Well, that's good. Yeah. At least your father-in-law got it.
Yeah, that's right. He's deserving. He's had a few things go wrong, not his way, but that was a heck of a gift for him, so they'll enjoy that.
I asked him if he would take you, why you wouldn't be so upset.
Yeah, right.
He said no. He said he's taking his beautiful wife. I don't blame him.
That's right.
I don't blame
It's an
him.
anniversary to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
What do you got for us today?
I got the answer to your question. We lost 17-14 to South Carolina on a Rodrigo Blankenship missed field goal. That's our loss the past 5 years at home.
Oh my! How could y'all let that happen?
That was Muschamp's last game too. Last year as the coach there, and now he's with us, and he's regaining a little strength, a little more people talking about him. I don't know how much longer he'll be with us. He's done a heck of a job since he's been there with us.
Listen, I do a heck of a job. I was coaching Kirby's defense. Okay, they're loaded with talent. They got more talent than the NFL. Dr. Ward, actually during the break, Dr. Ward corrected it. He said, you know what, South Carolina beat them, and it was that Athens. So he knew that. So Dr. Ward, you and James got it right.
We also, the other 3 losses are the Alabama series. I got to go ahead since you're on the Alabama update. And I hate to hear it every day, but we have lost. We've lost in those 3 games, except for last year. Y'all put it on as an SEC championship game, but the 3 games prior to that, we had lost to you. Not only in less than 10 seconds, we lost 3 games, and then we lost by 10 points. So
yeah,
Georgia is definitely there to stay. So we have learned, Kirby is Saban was his daddy, and
he spanked daddy.
He stayed the longest and learned the most. So.
Yeah. Well, let me help me help you. Okay, help me help you. Let's get Dr. Ward straight on something. The game's going to be moved out of Jacksonville to Athens and to Gainesville. It's going to happen because Kirby said it. Kirby said it, and if he wants it, he's going to get it. Am I right or wrong?
I'm going to tell you right now, I won't go back to Jacksonville. I've been down there 2 years in a row, and each year it gets worse and worse with the people surrounding the stadium. I'm not calling out anybody that's there or whatever, but the area there is not the same as it used to be.
Yep.
So, it's kind of like,
getting old.
Like Atlanta where they moved the stadium out of downtown out to Cobb County in the suburbs.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to tell you now, Kirby he's going to get what he wants, and I'll be glad to go to Gainesville. I want to go to the Swamp and whoop them.
Yeah.
So I'd rather go back and forth. It'd be fine with me.
Well,
we own one from the 52-7 when
I was getting ready.
Up there,
I was getting ready to point that out to you. What Spurrier did for last time he went to Athens.
Tore the shrubs up. We own one.
I actually didn't go to. I was a student at the time. Didn't go to that game because it was raining, and we knew we were going to beat the pants off of Georgia for that game.
He was still throwing the ball. He was at the end of the game. He's still throwing the ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me tell you, that team there was the best Florida team y'all ever had.
Yeah, they were good.
Possibly combined with
Spurrier was Saban before Saban ever come out.
That's true.
Possibly combined with one of the worst Georgia teams of all time too.
Yeah,
they fired him after that year, didn't they? Golf.
Yeah, Ray Goff, Jim Donnan.
Let me ask you something,
Mark
James.
Rick was the 10-win man all year long, but never could win a championship.
James, let me ask you something because you're into this SEC big time. You and Dr. Ward are smart guys. What would have happened if Spurrier? Now, he got offered a Bama job. Mal Moore called him. We thought he was going. There was a big booster up there, big trustee. We got Spurrier. And then he didn't do it. He didn't want to. He got tired of the Florida fans, being spoiled. He knew Alabama fans could be the same way. But what if he'd have taken that job? Would he not be the biggest legend ever if he'd taken the job at Alabama? Could he have done the same job Saban did?
You can't even put Saban. I have to give Saban respect where respect is due. So what he's done at Alabama is something that, you ain't going to repeat that. So Kirby's trying, but there's no way. There's no way you can win that many championships and then do what he's done, all the players.
Hey, I disagree with you.
He wouldn't have stayed as long as Saban has.
No, Spurrier was wishy-washy there at the end, kind of like Saban is now. I think Saban's on that edge, man. Y'all better get one soon, or he ain't going to be there long either.
Dr. Ward just left. I had to say bye to him. No, I disagree with you. I think if Kirby stays in, and I said this about 2 years ago, Kirby's a young man. If he doesn't get burned out and he stays at Georgia 15, 20 more years, we're going to be talking about Kirby Smart like we're talking about Nick Saban. I think he's one of the few coaches in the country at Georgia. Georgia was always a sleeping giant. Look at the high school football throughout the country. The best high school football being played right now is in the state of Georgia. They pay the coaches more money than anybody anywhere else. People want to go there and coach there. They want to go teach there. The population's growing. Great players. Georgia now has the facilities. I do think if anybody can do better than Nick in the future and break some of his records, it'll be Kirby Smart.
Well, it's going to be there's going to be so much more rules and stuff. I'm with the big super conferences, and I don't think Kirby's boys. I think when he gets to the point when his boys are in high school, I don't know, man. He likes to play golf, and even though he ain't very good at it, but he likes to play. And Georgia's got a couple windows here, but I just don't want him to get burned out.
Yeah.
I just want to be competitive. I want to be right there winning the East every year. And if we win the East every year, we always got a shot at the title.
But you don't think Spurrier would have won big at Alabama? I think he'd have won big. I do.
Not like Saban.
Now nobody recruits like Saban. Now Kirby's a great recruiter, but Nick Saban's a workaholic. Saban, that's all he does is watch high school film. I've never seen a man work like he works. That's all he is a freak when it comes to that stuff.
That special they had on one show on the NFL Network I watched about him and Belichick. When you compare the two men, you got two of the greatest minds in football, and they both were you can't believe them being on the same staff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Kirby learned a lot from Saban. And if you ever, listen to some of his interviews, I'm always listening to anything he has to say about the team. And when he's not cussing, that's the only time he ain't cussing, when he's on the interview. So, I'm going to tell you right now, he's got that team in shape right now. I guarantee you, we're going to be all right.
Oh,
we're going to show Oregon what's up. Florida needs to just worry about Utah.
Yeah.
Tell Florida when Florida can get prominent again, they can start talking. But until then, they can't say nothing. They got to worry about Utah.
Georgia's just where Bama was. All you're going to do now is hear new names. They're going to play just the same.
Right.
New bodies going to look the same. They just have different names. All right, James.
One name you remember right now, Coach. Remember the name Branson Robinson, the running back out of Mississippi we signed as a freshman.
All right.
So I'm going to tell you right now, that boy right there is a stud.
All right. Hey, they're all studs. They wouldn't be at Georgia right now. Kirby knows what he's doing.
I call him no neck. He has no neck. He's like 205 and 6'1", and he's a haul. He looks like Nick Chubb as fast as Todd Gurley.
Wow. Hey, James, I got to get this Alabama stuff in
sir.
there for Steve. You can hang on the phone and listen, or you want to hang up?
No, I'm good. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks for calling, buddy.
Bye.
Thanks, James.
All right.
All right, let's get Alabama preseason All-American team right now. I wanted to bring this up. He's going to start the year out, the preseason All-American. I'm talking about our boy. He just won the Heisman Trophy. He just was national champ runner-up. He won an SEC championship. Bryce Young is the #1 preseason All-American.
Mm-hmm.
He won the Heisman. He passed for 4,872 yards, 47 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. But I'm going to tell you right now, he's got his work cut out for him. He might be the preseason first-team All-American, but if I was putting money on it, I don't know. I might would go my boy CJ over at Ohio State.
You got to put him on there to start, but we'll see.
Yeah. Stroud at Ohio State, he looked really good at the end of the year.
Stroud's got
really
better
good.
targets to throw to, too.
Yeah, he's got great running back. They got great receivers there. All he did last year is pass for 4,400 yards, 44 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He played in one less game than Bama, or 2. Was it 2 less games or 1? 2 games, I guess.
Should be 1. They had a bowl game, so that would have made up for the semi.
No playoff game.
No, that's right, and they weren't in their championship.
So 2 more games. Yeah. So he, there was 400, almost 400 or 500 yards difference in passing. That could have been. With 2 less games, he could have been right there. But I really think he's going to tear it up. I truly do. Just like you pointed out, they got the best receivers in the country. They got probably the best offense in the country. So it's going to be really close between those two. The other quarterback you might want to look at that might wind up being the #1 first-team All-American quarterback, it may be now. It's just a stretch. But Williams, the kid that transferred from Oklahoma to USC, everybody thinks they're going to be really good. Some other names they mentioned for second-team, third-team All-American, your favorite team in the world, was it Hooker at Tennessee? They had Jeffries at Arkansas.
Perfect name for the Tennessee quarterback.
Be nice.
No.
Arkansas's Jefferson's a pretty good player now. They give him some
very good. That backup's really good, too.
Now, I didn't really want to get too much of this right now, but All-American running backs, Ohio State's Henderson's got to be up there. Robinson's the #1 guy right now out of Texas. He had 1,830 yards last year,
good.
15 touchdowns. Henderson was a freshman. He had 1,245 yards in the Big Ten. I think he had 15 touchdowns also. But don't forget about our new boy at the University of Alabama. What's his name?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, Gibbs came from Georgia Tech. I think that's your first 3-team.
I agree.
I don't know who's first, second,
Bijan Robinson, I would start him at #1 because I need to see someone show me they're better than he is.
Yeah, Michigan's got a pretty good running back. Dye's pretty good at Southern Cal. And Kansas State's got involved. But those 3 units are the biggest.
Don't forget Zach Evans at Ole Miss, too, as far as talent. Now, he's a head case, but
Yeah,
He's talented as all of them.
Have you heard it? Well, they just started camp. Let's just wait and see. Yeah. We'll see about that. All right, Alabama update. I got some more on Bama, but we'll do that later. Hey, I want to thank Stevenson Air Conditioning, Jason. I also want to thank Dr. Ward for coming in this morning. I know he's a busy man, and he does such a wonderful job. He got mad at me when I said they're moving that game. It's going to happen, Gator fans. You wait and see.
Got up and left you.
It's going to happen. We'll get more into how I know that when we get back, when we talk a little bit about the Auburn Tigers. But don't forget, today is Wednesday, world famous J. Michael Spaghetti. Oh, my goodness. Get a half order, get a full order, get whatever you want. It will be packed out at lunch. It will be packed out at dinner. Brian's buying mine. Cannot wait to get down there to J. Michael's restaurant today and try it out. I think Scott Shepard's going to meet me down there. Don't forget also about Buffalo Rock. The great people over at Buffalo Rock do so many great things for this county. So many great things for the high school kids, all the kids, all these different schools. They give school boards, they give coolers, they do it. You name it, you need it, they do it. Let's help them out every time we have a big party, get together. Make sure it's Buffalo Rock. If you open a brand new business, make sure you want Buffalo Rock in there. Dr. Pepper, Pepsi. You a pepper?
I'm a pepper.
I'm always
Try their muscle milk. It's good stuff.
Everything.
Protein
Diet
drink.
Dr. Pepper got me to and from Tupelo.
There you go. Elvis's hometown. We'll be right back. Auburn Tigers up next, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
For 5 years, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has been the undisputed
And still undefeated
leader for sports on the Panhandle, with engaging sports talk from national and local hosts, play-by-play with the Atlanta Braves, the Auburn Tigers, college football, and the NFL. Plus, we're 850 strong with feeding families for the holidays at Thanksgiving and Christmas. Thanks for 5 years of broadcasting history from ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good Wednesday morning. I'm forecasting partly to mostly sunny skies, but showers and thunderstorms will be in the forecast for today and tonight. The high temperature right around 90 and the overnight temperature about 75. Wind southwest 10 to 15, water temperature in the Gulf 87. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Sykes Concrete has been in business in this area since 1947, and 3 generations later, they're still going strong. See Sykes Concrete for dirt, sand, rock, and concrete. They can handle any size job from the smallest to the largest. Sykes Concrete pays CDL truck drivers some of the highest wages in Bay County, making $50,000 to $75,000 a year, including holiday and vacation pay, plus health insurance. See Hugh Sykes at Sykes Concrete, 8030 Highway 77, on the right, just north of Southport Elementary School.
Living on the Gulf Coast, we have beautiful beaches, clear water, and amazing marine life. Want to bring a piece of the ocean into your home or office with an amazing aquarium? Gulf Coast Aquarium, the area's only certified platinum CCHEM dealer. Their staff are all certified CCHEM specialists. Gulf Coast Aquarium can install, design, maintain, and finance your own piece of the Gulf. Gulf Coast Aquarium, powered by CCHEM, with over 40 years as a U.S.-based manufacturer of quality aquarium products. Online at GulfCoastAquarium.com. Gulf Coast Aquarium, where it's more than just a tank.
Tiger fans, join us weekday mornings at 8:15. It's the Bay Point Golf Auburn Update on the Coach James Hale Show at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Whoa, Eagle! Hey, I tell you what, baby, I told you, it's hard to get a win when you go to Jordan-Hare. That place rocks and roll, one of the loudest stadiums in college football. And Auburn is one of the best jobs. If they'll ever get on the same page, watch out. But back in the day, they hired a guy named Pat Dye. And Pat Dye was strong enough, mentally tough enough to go in there and take charge. Got everybody on the same page, and the rest is history. What he did, the greatest thing he ever did, is bring the Iron Bowl to Auburn. They enlarged the stadium. For years, they had the biggest stadium in the country. They dominated Alabama for a period of time. Tuberville won, I think, 5 or 6 in a row. Pat Dye did really well against Alabama. And I'll never forget Bears' last game. Pat Dye beat them 1982.
I remember Tuberville's big thing about getting the thumb. I remember yelling, "I got a finger for you."
Yeah, I was at one of those games. Phil Cobb and I used to go to and I was so upset. Oh, my God. Anyway, got to give him credit. He got the job done at Auburn. But Bo over the top, about broke my heart. Auburn beats Alabama. Bear Bryant walks off the field as a loser in his last game against the Auburn Tigers. Made me sad. Suge did the same thing. His last game against Alabama, he lost. And I loved Suge Jordan. I mean, I was different. I was always for Auburn until they played Alabama. And I loved Suge Jordan. He was one of my idols. I loved Pat Dye. You know, I knew Pat Dye is a great guy. Great guy. Great personality. Him and Bear, a lot alike in some ways. Now, the reason I'm talking about all this is that you Georgia fans, if you want the game moved, and I understand what James was talking about. Legion Field was in Birmingham in a bad part of town. Had gotten old, had gotten rough down there. Not a great lot of places to park. The stadium was old. The upper deck you thought was going to fall in and kill somebody. And he said he's going to move the game to Auburn when the contract run out. And Coach Bryant said, "Hell, that'll never happen. Alabama will never play at Auburn." And of course, Bear Bryant might be the only guy who had enough power to make it not happen, but he died. He got out of coaching and died. Ray Perkins gets in there. He tells them Alabama. He's athletic director. He said Alabama will not go to Auburn. It ain't happening. The game's not leaving Birmingham. Well, all you people out there, you Gator fans, Dr. Ward, I'm telling you, it's going to happen. If Kirby and the administration, and they're going to do what Kirby wants. You can mark it down. He's a great recruiter. He doesn't want to lose a week in recruiting. It's a home game. They can have Florida come in there. That gives him one more week to bring recruits on campus. You can't do that in Jacksonville. They can come on campus. They can see the facilities. It helps him out in recruiting. This is what he's all about, recruiting. He talks about all the time, I can't afford to lose a week in recruiting.
Helps the town.
This is what he said.
Helps everything.
He goes, look, Alabama's playing home against LSU. All the big major recruits in the South are going to be on campus at Alabama to watch the game. Even though they're not going to go there, they want to go watch that game. They're there. It gives Alabama an opportunity to change it, to change that. We knew that when we were coaching at Alabama. The Iron Bowl, all the players are going to be at Alabama. All the players will be at Auburn. Yeah. When we play, Georgia plays at Auburn. All the players are going to be at Auburn to watch us and Auburn play. He said, we knew this when we coached in Alabama. When Florida and Georgia were playing that week, we got people from all over the country come in to watch our home game. He said, we're going to do that at Georgia. We're going to move the game. So I do believe the game's going to be moved because of recruiting purposes. And just what you pointed out, too. Millions and millions of dollars will be made in Athens. They lose out. The community lose out on that. Jacksonville, the game's in a rough part of town now. People don't want to go. We just heard a caller say he didn't like going there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these schools all have the infrastructure to deal with big college weekends like this because they do it every other weekend. So there's no reason for it to be in these neutral site locations. There may have been a time where that was necessary, but it's not anymore. And yeah, it's tradition and all like that. But I mean, to me, it's not one that you absolutely have to hang your hat on. Now, I've never been.
Heck, we lost the A&M Texas game. That was tradition. So, I mean, it's happened before. It's going to happen. I don't know when the contract runs. I think about 3 more years. I really don't know, though. I'm just guessing. But I do know that game will be played in Athens. I
also never thought Jacksonville was a truly neutral site. So I always thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, but it's a lot closer from – anyway.
A lot closer.
Well, and I will give Pat Dye credit. He knew. He coached Alabama for 9 years. He knew Birmingham – was a big deal for Alabama recruiting. The more players in that area went to Alabama, they went to Auburn.
That game going to Auburn elevated Auburn.
Oh, my God. The money they made by moving it, he knew. He was athletic director also. He's a highly intelligent man. He knew now we can sell more preseason tickets. We're going to bring more money into the city of Auburn. And it's going to help us in recruiting also.
What it also did, and I don't know that this would be the case specifically for Georgia, Florida, but what it also did was in the 80s, you didn't have every single game always on, but the national eye was always on the Iron Bowl. The campus at Auburn, the university, the stadium, everything being on national television elevated the university in the minds of people across the nation, and that was huge for Auburn. So it didn't just stop at football. That was huge for Auburn University, getting that game on a national stage like that.
And that first game played at Auburn is something like you've never seen in your life. They said they could that Tiger Walk.
Oh, I
took
believe
forever. The people everywhere. There was people outside the stadium didn't have
I
tickets.
remember there was so much hype in the state of Alabama for that game. It was unbelievable.
It was, and one of my friends got knocked out at the game. Ed Strickland. Everybody remember Ed Strickland. He hates Auburn. He can't get on the radio and say anything good about Auburn. Him and his dad was alive back then. This was, I forgot, what year was he? Remember?
89.
89. Alabama was ranked number 2 in the country. Auburn beat them 30-20. Ed got beat up. He was running his mouth in the stadium. He was upset about what was going on, and he got punched right in the mouth. And I knew sooner or later somebody would punch him right in the mouth because he can't keep his mouth shut about Auburn. But that was an unbelievable experience. The greatest thing Pat Dye and Auburn did was move that game to Auburn.
Yeah.
And Georgia's getting ready to do the same thing. Is going to happen. The only other thing in the history of college football would be bigger if we could get Michigan Eddie off Michigan. Good morning. This is 104.3 ESPN.
Yeah, Michigan Eddie's calling in. He wants to know when Ed Strickland is going to produce a check.
Well, you got to stand in line. You got to stand in line. There's a lot of people waiting to be paid by Ed Strickland. All I did was lose checks. Thank you, Ed, for losing. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway. Mr. Ed, are you on the phone?
Go Blue Anyway, the glory days of the Coach Hale show with Ed Strickland at the old J. Michael studio. And that, hey, it's Wednesday. You'd be playing that Amore song, wouldn't he?
Under contract, I don't talk about him anymore.
Anyway.
I don't talk about him anymore.
Anyway, Ed was a character.
Eddie, what's the matter with you? You don't sound
You got a
good.
cold? You got a cold?
No, why?
You just get up?
You sound awful. That's why.
Yeah.
No, I had some in my throat, but I did just get up. But I woke up to your show. I've been up since 7.
Oh, okay.
Listening to your show.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You know?
Go ahead. I
You guys
apologize.
make me want to puke with what you're saying. College football is tradition.
Wait a minute.
You know?
Traditions are
and
broken.
That's the problem of today's college football because it's all about the money, and we're going away from tradition. You need to keep.
We're making progress. We're making progress.
No, it's not progress, you liberal Democrat. Anyway.
those are fighting words.
Look, there's nothing more traditional than playing regular season college football games on your campus. I don't like those neutral site games. I think those games should be played on campus. You go neutral site when you get into the playoffs or the bowl games.
They're going to move. You hear about that? Michigan State's moving the games to Chicago. No. Detroit. I'm sorry, Detroit.
Yeah, Chicago's not in Michigan.
Detroit. I meant Detroit.
Listen to me.
Y'all are moving the game to Detroit. I've already heard about it.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
It's a safe area.
Lord help me.
This is a very safe city. They're making a lot of money there. The water's really good to drink. I mean,
just going to play it in Toronto. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Michigan. I'm just messing with you.
As my dad used to say, even the bums are nice in Toronto.
Yeah, that's true.
Michigan Eddie.
Canadian are very nice people, but their leader's an idiot. Anyway, but Jacksonville, you say it's not really a neutral site game. It's on the border of Georgia, Florida-Georgia line. I mean, it's a perfect place for both schools to play. I disagree with
what
that.
state
that's
is
not
it
really a
in?
neutral site.
What state is it in?
It's in Florida, but it's on the state line.
Which
big
campus
deal.
is it closer to?
How long have you lived in the South?
Off and on, almost 15, 20 years.
Okay.
With my military career.
Okay. Then I understand your thinking
down
now.
the South more. I was down the South more than I lived in Michigan.
If the Michigan-Ohio State game was played in a town in Ohio that was on the border, that wouldn't bother you?
No, if it was played in Toledo.
Wait a minute. Wait. Keep it real. It would bother you. Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
Because Toledo's right on the border. You got the Toledo Mud Hens, AAA affiliate of the Tigers in Toledo.
So you heard it here.
Okay.
You heard it here.
Michigan Eddie loves the state
Toledo is a nicer town than Ann Arbor.
We love you too, Eddie.
Yeah.
No,
Jason
I never
Kovaleski.
said that.
Wait till I see
words in my
Jason.
mouth. Don't put words in my mouth, big guy. You're putting words in my mouth. Anyway.
I can't
but
wait to
it
see.
would not bother me at all.
I can't wait to see
wouldn't.
Jason Kovaleski.
I get it.
I'm gonna tell him.
I mean,
You've
if
changed,
Toledo
Michigan
had a
Eddie.
great stadium and it had decades of tradition behind it, I'm all for it. Like the world's largest cocktail. I knew about that growing up in outside of Detroit.
That's going to end.
It's a traditional game.
It's going to end. Kirby's going to get his way. Hey, the Iron Bowl used to be a tradition. The Iron Bowl used to be a tradition in Birmingham every year. Every year, Legion Field.
And Birmingham wasn't neutral. It was close, but it wasn't neutral. It's more Alabama. If the game was played in Montgomery, it'd be more Auburn.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just the
Would
way
you
it is.
rather, Coach, would you rather be played in Birmingham than Iron Bowl?
I like
Or
it now,
you like
home
the way
and
it
home.
is now?
No, I like it
Home
better
and
home.
home.
Man, I love watching Iron Bowl when they play at Auburn. It's exciting.
If you had two
Kick six,
subpar
baby.
stadiums and then you went to like Jerry's World for the game, that'd be one thing.
Yeah.
But Legion Field, by the time you got into the 80s, was subpar to both Bryant Denny and Jordan Hare. So it made no sense to keep it there.
I've been to Legion Field by mistake. Yeah.
You're lucky you're
never
still
doing that
alive.
again.
Yeah, all you have to do at Legion Field, those houses where you park and they say $10 to park, give them $50, and your car will still be there when you come back.
Hey, Mr. Eddie, we got to go. We got to call Mark McLeod. Thank you so much for calling.
All right, cool. Yep.
He can combine 32 words into 2
He's going to
seconds.
get it in.
He hung up on me.
I always try to get him off where he can do it. He's going to get that in.
Toledo. That's the takeaway from today.
Unbelievable, man.
Toledo.
He is now Ohio State. He loves the state of Ohio. I'm going to tell you this, man. I tell you what, we got Mark McLeod coming up here, Gator. You're going to love this. He's going to have a lot of great. I'm sorry, great. A lot of great.
You sound like Eddie now.
Edmund, he messed me up.
Yeah, you worried me there.
Woo. South Oak Title and Closing. Chuck Tucker. Nobody's better than Chuck Tucker. Offices on Lynn Haven, on Panama City Beach, Back Beach Road. South Oak Title and Closing, number one. You're going to use them if you go to closing. I guarantee the big realtors want to. Dr. Chad Mitchell, the legend. The legend, 22 years on Bay County sidelines. Any type of injury, go see Chad. He does a great job. And don't forget about Bay Point Golf. Thank you so much, Ryan, and Bay Point Golf, for the Auburn update. And Georgia will be moving the game. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather in Northwest Florida can change on a dime.
Gale force winds bombarded with heavy rain.
That's why 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has the most up-to-date forecast on the Gulf Coast. Hi, this is staff meteorologist Tim Root. With over 40 years of experience, I know just how fast we can go from sun and fun to a serious situation. For the most accurate and detailed weather when it matters, rely on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sykes Concrete has been in business in this area since 1947, and 3 generations later, they're still going strong. See Sykes Concrete for dirt, sand, rock, and concrete. They can handle any size job from the smallest to the largest. Sykes Concrete pays CDL truck drivers some of the highest wages in Bay County, making $50,000 to $75,000 a year, including holiday and vacation pay, plus health insurance. See Hugh Sykes at Sykes Concrete, 8030 Highway 77 on the right, just north of Southport Elementary School.
Is your mouth watering yet? We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Hit me with the sound effects again. Ladies, gentlemen, if you're feeling the way I'm feeling, we should both go get us a piece of that cheesy, beefy perfection with a delicious, refreshing Pepsi. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Buffalo Rock Company in Panama City is currently accepting applications for delivery merchandisers, as well as other positions. Please apply online at buffalorock.com/careers. Buffalo Rock Company is an equal opportunity employer. It is Buffalo Rock Company policy to provide equal employment opportunities to all qualified applicants, without regard to race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, national origin, age, protected veteran, or disabled status.
Now you can interact with the Coach James Hale Show live in the J. Michaels Studios. Download the new 104.3 ESPN app at the Apple Store and Google Play. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show, powered by Pepsi. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Go Gators! 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We got the great Mark McLeod with us this morning. Mark, Before I ask you about Atlanta, we got to solve something. Dr. Ward was in here. We've been talking about it, and I think it's a done deal. It's going to happen. You might say no. You might know more than I do. Kirby Smart wants the game moved from Jacksonville to home and home, Athens, Gainesville. Pat Dye, when the Iron Bowl was played every year in Birmingham, he told Coach Bryant he's going to move the game. Coach Bryant laughed and said, we will never play there. Coach Bryant died. Ray Perkins comes in and says Alabama will never travel to Auburn. The game got changed because the home school has the right to play their games at home. When the contract ran out at Birmingham, they moved the game, and the rest is history. It was a great move by Auburn. So I ask you, with Kirby Smart coming out and saying he wants the game moved for recruiting purposes and other things, does it get moved, or do you think it stays in Jacksonville?
Well, I think there's a good chance it moves. And the reason I say that is because Jacksonville has to do everything they can to keep this game. And they've provided both schools with some good money. But now when you look at the potential earnings of the University of Georgia, the University of Florida with $100, 110, maybe $120 million annually given by the conference alone, I mean, that's a huge, a lot of money. And really, look, Georgia probably feels like, hey, we'll make plenty of money. We bring Florida to Athens. So I think there's a good chance it moves if Kirby indeed really wants it moved, and it sure seems like he does.
Yeah, Mark, what he's talked about, he said when we were at Bama and we would play a big game, all the recruits would come watch us play, like, say, LSU in Tuscaloosa, because even we weren't going to get them, they would come because, even they were committed somewhere else, they would come because they just wanted to see the game. He says, and that gave us an opportunity to have a chance to kind of flip those guys. And he said, when we're Florida, and then I'm at Georgia, when we're playing Florida, we can't get them on our campus. We can't do the things we can do in Athens. So he's all about recruiting, so I do think it's going to be moved there. I had a call this morning, called in and said that Jacksonville is not the same place it used to be. He didn't like that part in Jacksonville anymore. I don't know about that one way or the other. But I do kind of.
He's right. Your caller's right. Jacksonville's not the same place. It's changed a bit. There's, the downtown area, the area around the stadium is probably not the safest area. But I think really, the fans love it there. They love it. And look, they go to Jack's Beach. Look, they go all the way down to St. Augustine. You'll see a crowd of red and black and orange and blue in St. Augustine the night before, or
right.
2 nights and 3 nights before the game. Really, it's one of the greatest events in college football. It really is. Florida, Georgia on the river. And I don't know. I'd hate to see it leave there. It's my favorite game. But and look, with all due respect to Kirby Smart, are you really kidding us? You need it for recruiting? Yes, Georgia's doing so poorly in recruiting. I mean, give us a break. Pull out the violin and cry me a song, Kirby. Yes, it's hurting you so bad in recruiting by having that game in Jacksonville. Come on. No, he wants it in Jacksonville because there are a lot of people in Jacksonville, or a lot of Georgia people want that game in Athens.
Yeah. All right, I want to ask you this. Give us a little rundown of your trip to Atlanta. I didn't have enough time to talk to you last week. Did you fly or did you drive up there?
No, I drove to Atlanta. It's a pretty quick trip. It was good. I mean, it was a great opportunity to get with a bunch of the guys that I know and some others that I'm still developing good relationships with, and that's it. I mean, you get to talk to guys from different states who cover different teams, and it's just a lot of fun. You get a lot of good information. There are a lot of information that you get that you can't share.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get you to share. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to share it on the air. There's some things I heard about Coach Saban and some others that I am not about to share on the air. But it's been good stuff, and it's informative. And when you get some of the information you get more than one person saying it, you kind of go, okay. So,
Wow.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good times.
Was it better than the last time y'all had gone there before? Because one time you went, you said it wasn't that great over there. Was it better this time?
Yeah, Atlanta the first time was awful because Radio Row, the SEC, put us in the Omni Hotel. And, I mean, you had tables side by side, and there was only like, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 feet between tables going the other direction. So guys were talking all over themselves. You couldn't hear yourselves think. It was horrible. When I spoke to them after that, because they give us a survey and they ask us, and I sent an email to them, to the SEC, and got some feedback from some folks up there, or particularly one guy, and then another guy. And they assured me that if it goes to Atlanta, it was not going to be there. It was probably going to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. And they stretched it up and down the Hall of Fame, and it was much, much better.
Good. Good. I'm glad y'all had a great time there. Let me ask you this. What's the word on Dan Mullen? Somebody said he's going to be, ESPN? What have you heard about him?
Yeah, that's what we're hearing. I don't think he talks to any of the media guys in Florida, so I don't know. I'm okay with it. You know, if he's going to be an analyst with ESPN, I would much rather see Steve Spurrier up there myself.
Yeah.
It'd be much more entertaining, and he'll tell you exactly how he feels about it all. I'm not sure you get that with Dan Mullen.
Yeah.
I think you'll get a little bit of that, but not all of it.
Dan could be good in that Chiswick role with the SEC Network, don't you think? Kind of a studio guy.
I think he could be. I think he could be.
Is that the position?
I really do.
I don't know.
But, we could probably come up with a half a dozen coaches we'd rather have there if they're going to put a coach there.
You think they're worried to have Spurrier because he would tell it like it is?
Hey,
he's a very honest guy.
Coach. Spurrier needs to replace Lee Corso on game day. That would be
that would be hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah. For years now, we've been hearing that Corso, but there's always been pushback by the other hosts to try to, and a couple people on set, other people on set, to say no, we want him here. And, you know, he's just a favorite up there, so that's why. That's one reason he's still there.
And he's coming back this year. I read he was going to come back this year.
Boy, they'd have to really put up those catch screens behind the set if they get Spurrier going to LSU and going to Tennessee.
Oh my God! You imagine?
It would be
Spurrier.
hilarious.
He would be perfect in that role too.
All right, what do you got for us today? Let's start with recruiting. I know it's picked up. He's doing a pretty good job recruiting. I think, what are they ranked now, 11th, 12th, something like that? They're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, they've done a really nice job turning things around there. And you look at the last numbers I had on Florida, they were 12 with 24/7 Sports. There were 13 with On3 and 15 with Rivals. And the last I saw, ESPN hadn't even updated their stuff, which is bizarre. But, you know, you're the worldwide leader in sports, you claim, and you can't even update your recruiting rankings on a daily basis like the others. It's really picked up for Florida. Look, Florida had a big Friday Night Lights a week ago. It was, half a week ago. It was fantastic. They really had a ton of kids there. They had, as I counted, they had at least 10 5-star kids that were on campus. They had a ton of 4-stars, a lot of 3-stars. It was just a great event. And then, of course, they followed that up with the big barbecue event, which is the Grill in the Ville, and that went over very well. And, you know, Florida ends up with some really high-profile recruits. When you go back to, I guess it was last Wednesday, Florida really ended up with a lot of high-profile recruits that are mailing it in for Florida. And you get wide receivers in Aiden Mizell out of Orlando Boone, Andy Jean out of Miami Northwestern. On the defensive side of the ball, they got Jakeem Jackson out of Kissimmee Osceola and Jordan Castell, a safety out of West Orange. And those are big guys. The big guy's still on the board for Florida, and that is Cormani McClain out of Lakeland High School. He's a number 2 overall ranked player according to ESPN, the number 3 according to 24/7 Sports. He's a corner, and he likes Florida. And all the analysts, the recruiting analysts, say, look, this guy's destined for Florida. He's talked up Florida. He loves Florida. If Florida gets him, guys, they're in the top 10. Yeah. And you're talking about a team that a month ago was 28th in recruiting. So Billy Donovan and the staff are doing the job. The standalone football facility is almost complete. I went by there yesterday and looked around a little bit. They probably, looks to me like they've got about 2 to 3 weeks more work to do. And I'm not a building construction guy like my buddy Johnny Spillers in Panama City Beach, but who was my roommate in Gainesville. But you know, that's what it looks like to this novice. And I'll tell you, you get that, guys, coupled with the Utah game, back-to-back with Kentucky, big crowds for those games, a lot of excitement, a ton of recruits coming in the stadium. They're going to get to see a standalone football facility. It all bodes well for Florida and the staff.
Mark, hold your thoughts right there. We'll get back. We'll finish up with the great Mark McLeod. We got to take a break right now. Let's talk about, don't forget now, today is on Wednesday, world-famous spaghetti, J. Michael's Restaurant. Get on the Blue Sky Express Car Wash. Get that vehicle looking brand new. And every time Mark comes in town, he's always looking for Blue Sky Express Car Wash. They're incredible. Max Fit Sports Nutrition.
Easy
you want
for
to feel
you to
better,
say.
look better, go see Jason Kovaleski. We'll be right back. All you want to know about the Florida Gators, Mark McLeod, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
What really frustrates me is that this is an NFL defensive coordinator. So you just know this is a person who tries at all times to position himself as some tough guy. I love football and I'm a football person, and yet you're going to make anonymous quotes about Lamar Jackson in a story because you don't want your name attached to it? You're a chicken. That's what you are. You're not a tough person. You're a coward.
Greeny, weekdays 2 to 4, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good Wednesday morning. I'm forecasting partly to mostly sunny skies, but showers and thunderstorms will be in the forecast for today and tonight. The high temperature right around 90 and the overnight temperature about 75. Wind southwest 10 to 15, water temperature in the Gulf 87. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Hear that? That's the plumpest, juiciest hot dogs you've ever seen getting their grill on. But we both know what'll make it sound even better. Oh yeah, it's a Pepsi to go with your hot dog. Because when you're chomping on America's favorite meal, relish, mustard, and onions perfectly blending into a crescendo of flavor, there's only one thing that makes everything about that moment better. A cold, refreshing Pepsi. One mouth-watering sip is all it takes to make this whole experience go from pretty good to jaw-droppingly, table-poundingly incredible. Don't believe me? Just listen. See what I mean? It's like music to my ears. And if you'll excuse me, I have a date with the two most beautiful things I've ever seen or heard. Hot dogs. Better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Buffalo Rock Company in Panama City is currently accepting applications for delivery merchandisers, as well as other positions. Please apply online at buffalorock.com/careers. Buffalo Rock Company is an equal opportunity employer. It is Buffalo Rock Company policy to provide equal employment opportunities to all qualified applicants, without regard to race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, national origin, age, protected veteran, or disabled status. Don't miss the 2022 ISO League Summer Slam. Watch as teams from all over the South compete for $10,000. In this 5 versus 5 double elimination, winner takes all basketball tournament. Want your team to compete? Register now for the 2022 ISO League Summer Slam before all the spots are taken. Whether you're competing or spectating, get in on the action. August 5th through the 7th at Rutherford High School, 1000 School Avenue. Visit ISO League by Rise on Facebook for more information.
Broadcasting live from the J. Michaels Studios.
The best part of waking up is
The Coach James Hale Show. Powered by Pepsi. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We got Mark McLeod with us this morning. Mark, tell everybody the best way to listen to you.
1021news.com at 4 o'clock Eastern today, those weekdays, and then certainly the podcast. I just recorded a podcast early this morning, Gridiron Growl. They should have it up this afternoon or sometime around 5 o'clock, I would imagine.
Podcast,
it was just me, and it was all about Florida Media Day yesterday.
Great. Hey, before we get into Florida Media Day and everything else going on in Gainesville, go back to the young man from Lakeland, Florida. Now, does he play for Lakeland High School?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See,
McLean.
Mark, I think Florida's going to get him. And I think Bill's still coaching there, too. In the old days, Florida got all the players out of there. I mean, they really wanted them. they got him. And one running back that went to Clemson shocked me.
Yeah,
and he,
Bowman.
Yeah, and he's been all over the country since then. But I feel good Florida's going to get this young man.
Yeah, I do too. And I tell you, Florida's going to be stocked at corner. They really are. I mean, they have good depth in the secondary right now, but obviously after this season, they'll lose some guys. So it'd be a good opportunity for some young guys to come in and make some things happen. That is probably one of the few areas on the Florida football team where they do have some depth, and it's quality depth that looks like it's probably real close to ready to play, if not ready to play in the SEC.
Well, let me ask you about Florida's offense. What are you hearing? Are they going to be more – you go into a situation, you bring your scheme in there, you run your scheme, and then you look at it, you look at your personnel, and you go, look, this is what we can do within our scheme. We're going to probably run the ball more. We're going to pass the ball more. You always want to be balanced. But what do you think Florida's offense this year, what is it going to look like? Do you think it'll be more passing, more running, any option game? What do you think, gut check, what do you think the Gator offense will look like? What are they going to lean more on running the ball, passing the ball, or what?
I really think with Anthony Richardson and with what Billy Napier wants to do with this offense, I think it's going to be balanced. I think they have a good chance to balance it this year. Again, you have Osiris Torrance, a guy who is named first-team All-SEC, who's never even played a snap at Florida, by the way. But he's coming in at offensive guard. Yesterday at Florida Media Day, Coach Rob Sale, the offensive line coach, also co-offensive coordinator, was really talking up Michael Tarquin, who is the new starter on that Florida offensive line. Everybody else returns. But the guy at right tackle looks like it's going to be Michael Tarquin. He's a projected starter. And he really talked him up and said, you know, when you go across the board, and this is something that I do with the players, and I ask him, who's that one guy who stands out at you, the guy that you look at and go, man, that guy's got it together. That guy really does things the right way. He said, the guys on the all-line tell me Michael Tarquin. And they said he's looking really good. He said he does everything right. I mean, he's an avid studier of film. He tries to do everything technique form right. And that's why Coach He was getting a lot of praise really coming out of the spring, that the coaches saw him really develop and emerge throughout the spring. And he was a guy that they were kind of wowed by at right tackle. And again, a guy who hasn't played much football. And, you know, that kind of goes back to what Napier told us yesterday, is that, look, we look at our team. We have a smaller core group of guys who have played a lot of football, of football here. Mm-hmm. He goes, then we have a bigger group of guys who really, they're inexperienced. There's some talent there, but there's a lot of work to be done. He said, and then we have a bunch of new guys who we've got. He goes, so we've got a lot of work to do. And as he said at SEC Media Days, my favorite line, he said, we've got a lot of grass to mow. Yeah. So, you know, he said we do have some talent. And then the offensive and defensive coaches we spoke with yesterday said, there's talent here. You know, there's a lot of things technique-wise, a lot of little things that they don't do. And the buzzword for Media Day yesterday, guys, was discipline. Mm-hmm. Discipline. Mm-hmm. And even when I asked Osiris Torrance about discipline and kind of where, you know, he's a guy that came from Billy Napier's program in Louisiana. He saw what had been done there. Was it kind of a shock to him when he came to Gainesville and saw what was going on? And okay, now tell me where they are from that point to where you are right now. And he alluded to it. And he said, look, he even said that, look, there was a fight in spring practice on the first day, second day, because usually, I mean, you don't see that kind of stuff till later. But, right. I mean, he said that there were a lot of guys on the team just didn't know how to practice. They didn't go hard the entire practice. There were times where they took plays off or coasted. And he said that doesn't play in Billy Napier's system. And of course, you know, he learned it from Nick Saban. Yeah. And this is a big, big part of what the coaching staff's been trying to get through to the players is, no, we have a new way of doing this, and you're going to go hard every time you get an opportunity to go hard.
Yeah, the first year is the hardest year. I don't care high school, football, junior high, NFL. The first year is the toughest year. The coaching staff got to use the players. Players get used to the coaching staff. But, Mark, I just want to get this in real quick. all the years you go watch Florida play, and I always say I think they got one of the fastest teams every year on both sides of the ball. And I'm talking about team speed, not just skill players, but team speed. You could sit in the end zone and watch Florida play. And I got to admit, they were good back then, though. But even when I've seen them play when they weren't that good, you still see it. You'll see a gap, and you think, oh, they got a nice play coming. And all of a sudden, out somewhere, a defensive Florida player will close the gap. And do you still think they have that type of team speed on the defense side of the ball this coming up here? Because they're saying there's talent there. I think it's there. I think it's just what you're saying. They're not used to working extremely hard, and they don't have the discipline.
I think it's there, but I don't think it's there across the board because simply they haven't recruited as well recently. I do think it's there. Sean Spencer said something very similar to us yesterday. He said, look, when you are doing things right, technique-wise, when you're in the right spot where you need to be, he said, and I mean, he goes, you got 11 guys doing that. He goes, you can cover up a lot of mistakes. Mm-hmm. And he said, we need that. We need that right now. And he said that's something that during the spring they tried to emphasize to all the guys. This is why you have to do this correctly. You can't drift if you're a linebacker over here when you're supposed to be over here or a DB. And he said they just saw far too much undisciplined play last year. And in fact, Patrick Toney, the co-defensive coordinator, the other co-defensive coordinator, he called it out. I mean, he said, look, he goes, we can't play undisciplined football. He goes, there were far too many penalties last year on that Florida defense that were just because it was because guys weren't doing things right mentally. You know, there was just a lot of undiscipline and undisciplined play. So
starting fall camp, you know, we found other places they've had players. Tennessee lost a running back, a backup running back. They said he's going to have surgery, upper body. Nobody knew about it. They just mentioned it. Anybody injured starting fall football, is everybody healthy and ready to go?
I think most everybody's healthy and ready to go. I really do. I think that, you know, there'll be a few guys that they'll have to check on. And we're going to find out today whether they're in yellow shirts or not. But I think overall we've heard nothing. And, of course, you know, in this day and age, coaching staffs aren't willing to provide that information to you just because they think you deserve it.
Yeah.
So, so it's just the day and age we live in. But, you know, right now I think Florida overall is a very healthy football team, and they came out of the spring very healthy overall, which is a terrific thing.
All right, Mark, we're running out of time again. Enjoy having you on here. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you next week. Stay safe and keep us and let us know what's going on with the Florida Gators.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, Mark. Great Mark McLeod. He does an unbelievable job. All right, the underdog. This stud is back. Big Dave is back in the saddle, and it couldn't be better. That guy he's got more talent in his little finger than I got in my entire body. He is unbelievable. The guy is incredible. Listen to the underdogs. You going to help him out today?
I'll be there.
He's something special. There's no doubt about that. Listen to underdogs. They got a great show coming up. And we'll be back tomorrow. Tommy will be in here. Jeremy will be in here. Friday gang will be here. Looking forward to it. We're getting closer and closer to college football. We are 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We are out. Have a great day. Be safe.
I used to fool around, but I couldn't take punishment and had to settle down.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Dan Patrick Show.
But Deshaun Watson, he settled 3 cases, civil cases, overnight. So there's one more that's pending. Does the NFL want this story to be over? That's the key. But if 40%, roughly 40% of your audience is female, you might want to reconsider.